Well, hello, everyone. I am Mayor Cashenna A. Cross from the city of Glenarden. Today, we are hosting a very special event. April is Autism Awareness Month, and it has been my heart's desire that we bring on some leaders in our community that allows us to not only see and hear, but to also understand what we are to do when we encounter a member of our society that has been diagnosed with autism. Autism is not a disease, not an illness. It is a diagnosis that many of us have not quite understood. So I thought it best to hear it from those of our community leaders that you will see on this screen who have had the opportunity, I say opportunity, to raise children or to be a part of organizations that are doing their part to raise awareness for autism. So without further ado, I do want to introduce one special guest here, and she's going to talk to you about our bookend event just before we get started with our prime event today. And her name is Linda Carpenter Grantham. Please talk to us about the April 30th event.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you, Mayor Cross, for having me. Good evening, everyone. I am Linda Carpenter Grantham. I am a proud mom of a 17-year-old son who is highly functioning autistic. He is on the spectrum. He was not always high functioning. We went through the whole thing with the sensory. He still has sensory, but it took him a long time to walk, speak, crawl, and do the things that are expected of a child to do at a young age. I also am the proud founder of the Blue Runway for Autism. And so I started the Blue Runway for Autism due to my son having low self-esteem. He knew he was different, but when I would, dress him up, take him to get a haircut, put some men's cologne on him, his self-esteem would just go through the roof. And he would say, Mommy, do I look Hollywood? And I would say, Eric, you look Hollywood, And so I noticed in doing that this would be a great opportunity for me to do the same thing with other kids and people who have autism to help them to have better self-esteem. So I started the Blue Runway for Autism. I started doing fashion shows. And I started partnering with Macy's, Lord & Taylor, other agencies, and law enforcement. We also do law enforcement as well. Fashion shows. And so we're actually having a fashion show this Saturday coming, April 9th at 2 p.m. at the Macy's located in Wheaton Mall on the lower level inside of Macy's. It's going to be absolutely fabulous. In between the children getting changed into their clothing, and we also have some adults in it as well that have other special needs. But in between the children getting changed into their clothing, we have other people to speak, advocate, sing, dance, art, all kinds of great things. And also on April 30th, we are partnering with Mayor Cross, and she's hosting, and we're having Paint for a Purpose, and we're having a paint party. And so we have a wonderful lady who's coming. She's an artist, and so she's going to teach the kids how to paint on canvases. So we invite you all to come out and participate and share that moment.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you and for all that you're doing. Linda, Eric, and my family go to Woodstream Church. So we are church members together. And I can tell you, he is a phenomenal rap artist. One of the things that I love about children that, have diagnosis is how they achieve and overcome. And Eric has used his gift to the nth degree. And I have to say, thank you, Linda, for allowing the world to have him. Some would hide him, but he has a unique gift. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on and speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So now I want to bring us forward as we are looking at a community collaborative effort. We have Peace, Love, and Solve. We have the author of Silence of Ray. We have Mr. DC 2021 online, and we have a very very special guest, and I want to welcome her, Miss Elite Georgia Petite USA 2022. So first, Mr. DC 2021, Mr. Yashir Bashir. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Mayor Cross. Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here. As you said, I'm Mr. DC 2022. And no worries. So it was obviously a male pageant, but it was more than that. It was about men of culture that give back to the community. And, the reason I chose autism is actually Tim and I discussed it, and Tim is the one who actually really kind of pushed me towards that cause for several reasons. We have friends and family who are affected by this diagnosis, and it is very near and dear to our heart. And it's something that, we can give back to the community.
Thank you so much for that. And so since you've introduced Tim, I'll bring up Tim Quinn from Love and Solve. Forgive me, Peace, Love, Solve. Please, Tim.
Hi, thank you. Listen, I'm just delighted to be, involved with your group. Linda, I just love your story and what you're doing. I think it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
In so many ways of what I do, I feel like the power of touch and inclusion is so important, which is kind of where Peace, Love, Solve started. My partner in crime on that, Marla Garchik, who's, when I first met her years ago, lived in the DC area. Her son, Jack, was diagnosed with autism when he was 2 or 3 years old. And they were fortunate enough to be able to do early intervention, which is really one of the driving forces of Autism Speaks. And it's remarkable to see the young man he's grown into. He's going to college this year. And a big part of what we do with Peace, Love, Solve is making sure that, people who don't have access to early intervention and to programs are able to get that. And Autism Speaks is such a wonderful, wonderful organization that really, provides education, it provides resources. We do a lot through Peace, Love, Solve, where we just give back. Like her husband calls it our hobby, because it's a business that really is just a give back business. And Yasser's been an amazing ambassador for us. And I think it's important that, he continues to do what he does, and we support every community. So I'm delighted to be able to listen and see you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Quinn, and thank you. We are so delighted to have you. I will now go to Miss Karen Taylor Fletcher. She is the author of The Silence of Ray. And thank you. We are
thank you so much, Mayor Cross, for inviting me. Thank you to the panel. You have such a wide variety of experiences. I have wrote and published a book called The Silence of Ray, which is a life story of my youngest son who had autism. And autism, to me, is an impactful type of challenging mental status. And so what I have found, there's good and bad with everything. And autism provided me, it showed me an individual who has courage, who is not, accustomed to being afraid or are not challenged with being afraid. They have some impediments, but they try to work around them. So autism to me has had a very profound effect on my family. And throughout
Karen, I think we lost you. Can you go back and there you are. Thank you.
All right. And autism is so profound. It affects
Karen, I think we lost you. Can you go back and There you are. Thank you.
All right, all right.
Autism affects
And
the community.
autism is so profound.
It affects
it
the
affects
school,
I think we lost you. Can you?
and
go back?
it affects the
There you go.
family.
Okay.
And it is
All right.
something that the
Autism
community should be
affects
aware
the
of, because when you see an
community.
individual who
It
has
affects
different
the
levels of
children.
autism,
We lost you.
they
And
should not
it
be
affects the
afraid, but
And
be,
it is something that
you
the
know,
community
willing
should be
to
aware of, because
understand and accept that individual, just as we accept individuals of all different calibers and walks of life. So I share that in my book, and I'm again so happy to be a part of this panel. It has meant so much, and I've been a public speaker for autism and autism spectrum disorder. And so this is just a great platform for us to speak on. Thank you, Mayor Cross.
And autism spectrum.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Ms. Fletcher. Now, I want to ask you, did you hear a lot of feedback while Ms. Fletcher was talking? Okay, that's what we have been trying to discover, what's going on here. Hopefully it's not something that will persist throughout this meeting.
Mayor,
yes,
I
ma'am.
might make a suggestion. Karen, if you've got two computers on or another device, one of them's going to have to be muted completely. And that's usually what causes the feedback. So you might try that. I'm not sure if you have two going at the same time.
Thank you for that, Ms. Ward. And then also everyone, unless you're speaking, please mute your mic. Then let's see if we can minimize the feedback. Okay. Yashir, could you mute your mic, sir? Thank you. Okay, Ms. Fletcher, unmute and let's have you say something again.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Cross. I just wanted to share with the community and individuals listening that autism takes on, it takes a lot out of the family, out of the community. It's something that the more we know, the better we're able to embrace it. Of course, individuals who have autism can have such exceptional abilities. They may be good at numbers or athletic abilities or what have you. What I've also found with individuals who have various forms of autism is that they are very simplistic type of loving people for the most part. And so I look forward to engaging and continuing to share information that will help individuals out in the community who may not have anyone who in their family who's autistic, but to be aware and to understand that these are just God's children coming in to us in a different way. They have very simplistic, like I said, behaviors. And sometimes I would look back at my son and I say, boy, he's really brave, or he doesn't ask for a lot of things. And so I'll give it back to the panel, but this is a great topic and I look forward to talking more on it.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. Let's see, we're still working these technical difficulties, so everyone please forgive us for that. Let's move forward. Ms. Ward, I see you there. Let's introduce yourself. Forgive me. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mayor Cross. I am so excited to be here, and thank you to the panel. I am just really blessed to be here this evening. My name is Mary Ward, and I'm the reigning Miss Elite Georgia Petite USA 2022. Now, I've had the blessing of having a wonderful little grandson who is 12 years old now, but he has autism. And he, honestly, when he was a year old, I knew something wasn't quite right. And I have to admit, when Karen, Ms. Fletcher said that they're the sweetest people, they absolutely are. You will not find a kinder person. This child has been a blessing. Now, he has been nonverbal for years. He's getting better. He's got, you know, at 12 years old, he may have a vocabulary of 50 words. And that's, you know, it's been a challenge for him, but it's also taught me so many things about the blessings we have that we take for granted. Now, I actually got started with my mission 24 years ago. And it started out with brain injury awareness. It started 24 years ago when my youngest sister was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and she was given 2 days to live. Now, while that doesn't have anything to do with autism, autism falls up under the umbrella of brain disorders. And so what I do, I made a promise to my sister. I couldn't prevent her from getting brain injuries, and she had asked me on her in her last days to not let that happen to anyone else. I couldn't keep that particular promise, but I did decide that I could do something else. I can help people prevent brain injuries. So I became a shield of protection for children. How does that affect children with autism? Well, I noticed that when you have an autistic child, they don't always listen. They really don't. And if they're nonverbal and they get lost, how are they going to tell someone who my Mimi is, who my mama is, who my daddy is? You worry about everything. So I made it my mission to bring awareness about acquired and traumatic brain injuries, including autism. And it's an umbrella for everything: PTSD, autism, mental health disorders, brain tumors, and prevention. So what I've done is, in order to help all children, is I've started these summer safety projects where I have first responders come in and teach the children about water safety. I have my Buckle Up Safety campaign. I have my bicycle helmet nature rides. And so we do fun things so that children with autism and other children can prevent brain injuries, and also get that, you know, you want to get your autistic child out with other people. They've got to learn different socialization skills. And this is one wonderful way to help them learn and get them social as well.
Thank you so much. And I can definitely hear in your voice there the level of impact that this diagnosis is having in our community. So I want to thank you so much for bringing your story. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that has joined us this afternoon or this evening for Autism Awareness Kickoff. And I want to, without further ado, get right into the meat of our discussion for today. And so I didn't want to miss an opportunity to say thank you to all of our guests that have joined us. So autism spectrum disorder, just a few facts about it. It affects 1 in 68 children. Boys are nearly 5 times more likely than girls to be diagnosed with ASD. And so this is something that, you know, 1 in 68 children, that is a very low number. And we talked earlier about having early diagnosis, and that is something that is very impactful and also saves lives. So who would like to talk to us about the importance of early diagnosis? Because, you know, a lot of times I think parents don't want to hear that there is a problem, but diagnosing the problem early can be beneficial for the child in the long run. So who would like to take that question or that point? And we will use our reaction button there to raise our hand. Okay, I see you, Ms. Fletcher. Thank you.
I was made aware that my youngest son had autistic-like behaviors at the age of, I believe he was about 2.5. And the reason it came about is that my oldest son had some issues, maybe ADHD or something like that. And that was keeping him from being his best at school. And so someone at the preschool said, why don't you have your son checked out? And while you're there, see if they'll check your other son. And we did that. We went through a battery of tests that kind of determined his auditory, his audio ability, his cognitive skills, his speaking skills, and things of that nature. And it was very helpful to be able to at least identify what happened. Now, on the other hand, at that particular time, we noticed that he would say cookie or channel 5, very limited things, but he was 2. So you didn't think a whole lot about it. But as he got older, we noticed that the cognitive skills were just not there. And so early testing is an absolute must. If you notice anything that's going on with your child, have them tested.
And something just as simple as the communication style for a new parent, which may not be readily available. That's why your persistency in getting your regular checkups and hearing from the doctor, really hearing if there is an issue that we need to address. So I thank you for bringing that out forward. When we look at the development of the disability, generally, it appears before the age of 3. And the interesting thing about that, as being a parent myself, it would be, I would say it'd be easily missed, because at that age, up until 3, you have your toddler and it's falling and it's getting into things. And there's a lot of babble, and all the babble is cute. So you really don't expect to see that age group from birth to 3, having clear, no kidding communication skills anyway. So it's something that can be easily missed. Is there anyone else that wants to talk to that topic on how we can diagnose or how we can be more aware as parents? I see you, Ms. Ward.
All right. I just want to share how I identified that my grandson had autism. It had never been, I never had knowledge of anyone in my family having autism, and I would keep that child every day. I was so in love with that child. I'm so blessed. So anyway, I was keeping him every day, and I noticed that he would never look you in the eyes, never. And I would sit him on the floor, and he's very structured. He loved dinosaurs, and he would put little lines of dinosaurs. Children with autism like to line things up. They're very precise. And then I would walk up behind him and I would clap my hands, or I'd say his name, and he wouldn't turn around. And I'm thinking something's not quite right. And my leisure reading is medical books and law books. So with my research that I'd done previously, I thought I'm thinking this is autism. Now, I reflect back on when his father was growing up, and the teachers always said, okay, your son is just kind of squirmy in his chair. He's wiggling around. He just won't be still. And he was diagnosed with ADHD. And I'm thinking, I'm just wondering if this child has that. But I didn't think so, because it was entirely different. But then I started getting those little books, Einstein for babies. And I'm thinking, I'm going to teach him how to talk, because he hadn't said anything. So I taught him how. I don't know if you remember those little books that teach you, well, they're Einstein things, but it'll say like arms up, things like that. That was his first and last words, arms up. And I thought we were just making progress when I taught him how to say arms up, but it was the last words until later on. And this is how I started getting him to talk a little bit. He wouldn't talk, but every night before we'd go to bed, I'd sing to him. And I'd sing 3 songs every night. And then pretty soon he would start singing, but he couldn't talk, but he could sing. And that's how I was able to kind of break open communication with him. And it was a wonderful experience, but also sad.
Thank you so much. And so singing was the connective tissue. And
Yes.
that's the key piece. You have to figure out what the connective tissue is between where someone who is suffering from the disorder of autism can relate to, what would be, we consider normal behavior. So I can appreciate that singing, things that other ways, more than one way, right, to address this concern. But good on you for finding that way. Music, art, all those, that side of the brain seems to be the dominant feature, as we heard from Miss Linda earlier, was, singing, art, again, rapping, art, again, that side of the brain seems to be a connective tissue. Mr. Quinn, I saw your hand up earlier.
I had to figure out how to unmute it. No, absolutely. I think that Ms. Ward's words were very true. And I find that that's, the spectrum of autism is so vast that the earlier you can have a parent or a guardian or a family member recognize and have them tested, because there are so many wonderful therapies and interventions that can happen, and the younger they can start, whether it's cognitive, applied behavior analysis, there's relationship development that can happen, speech therapy, and every child is so different that the protocol, it's much like in the cancer world, when you have the right diagnosis, the protocol's there, and the quicker you can actually reach it, the outcome is so vast. And I think that that's what's so very important. And not every child has a family member who loves and cares for them in the way you do, Ms. Ward, and I think those of us who are in this community that can help in that regard, that's our joy, right? Because, no child should have to not have access to the best of our abilities. And I think that it's just remarkable. And that's why, we support Autism Speaks so greatly, because it's such a great resource for a parent to go and kind of start that. If I've always felt with anything, if you listen to your intuition, it's going to lead you, to find the right resource.
Mr. Bashir, do you have any feedback? You are Mr. DC 2022. I've corrected that now. And part of your community service is to heighten awareness for autism. So talk to us about some of the efforts you're taking to make sure that the communities around the DMV actually are increasing their knowledge.
Absolutely. I have to tell you, I don't know a lot about it. That's why I'm learning from you, fine folks, but I want to be involved as much as I can. So our friend Marla Garchek, she actually sent me some apparel, and it was Peace, Love, and Solve. And it was like, shine a light on autism. So, I went and I wore that on April 1st, which was the Autism Awareness Day. And I posted on my social media, and I've got some amazing feedback from people, and they wanted to know. I had a woman just come up to me, and she's like, she goes to me, my child, and she's not from the US. She's, she's not, how do I say this? She doesn't have the means to actually go and get treatment, but she wanted to talk to me about it. She got my information, and as soon as I find more information, or I do an event and I get involved with Autism Speaks and Peace, Love, and Solve, I want to include her. And all she wanted was just somebody to be kind to her, to understand. So I have several events coming up, and I will be notifying you of some of the big ones that I will do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bashir. And you know what? It's fantastic what you're doing. In the community. So that is admirable. Thank you for doing that. You know, a lot of people, when you're in the pageant world, okay, I was in the pageant world back in the day, right? You have to come up with something that's near and dear to your heart. And I find it interesting that you received a piece of apparel. And I think, Tim, you can talk to us a little bit about the apparel that he received and what it does. The apparel piece of it for autism.
So Peace Love Solve was started many years ago as a way to bring awareness and raise funds for autism. So we design various shirts, t-shirts, tanks, whatever, men, women, children, and most of them have a message of kindness. So it might just be a simple picture or a smile, or it's reminding people to just spread joy. And we sell them on the website. We do all the different walks, Marla chairs, the autism walks, and the proceeds go to support Autism Speaks, as well as the walk that we do in Jack's name every year. And we've been really fortunate that we send the shirts out. That's why I joked earlier that Steve, her husband, calls it our hobby, because he continues to just fund a company that really has just become a charitable organization. But it's really so joyful because we send the shirts, and then, Yasir's been so wonderful to share it with his community, because, the more people are aware, and it just starts a conversation. So somebody sees a cute shirt, where did you get it? At the gym, whatever. It may be sent somebody to the website to learn a little more, because it's like anything. Once you learn about something, your opinion or your prejudices or your whatever that might be kind of dissipates a little, because then suddenly you realize when 1 in 44 people has, children is diagnosed with autism, that we all know someone. And, once it kind of touches a little closer to home, I find that you tend to be a little kinder about it, right? And maybe a little more supportive. So it's a wonderful, opportunity we've had, because we've been fortunate in our lives to be able to do this. And we have so much fun with it, to the point where sometimes I have to, tone Marla down. Every time she gets an idea, we have a new t-shirt. So our website's a little all over the place. Our current First Lady actually wore one of our shirts in her in Joe's campaign on like the NBC show or whatever. And it did wonderful things, because she didn't even have to speak. It was just, you saw her jogging in a t-shirt, and it drove people to the site to see like what that is. So, I think, in the pageant world, I've been a judge at Miss, New York and Miss USA. Like, I love listening to when the members speak about what their platform is, because they actually reach a whole new audience that we would have no idea how to. So we love Yasir for what he's doing for us.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much for explaining the apparel piece to us. And it is so important that, not that we commercialize it, but that each dollar that's spent, there's a portion that goes back to the research, to help bring solutions to the diagnosis. Miss Linda, I've seen your hand up here. Let me turn to you.
Yes, hi. So I just wanted to speak to a couple of things, actually, what Ms. Ward was saying about, when Eric was really young, he loved Thomas the Train. And so he would line the trains up specifically, certain space from each other. It was a perfect line and perfect space. When he did not have the trains, he would actually use my belts and line the belts up on the floor and slide them back and forth. So, routine is key for kids with autism. The other thing that I wanted to speak to was sensory. Eric has sensory. He can hear things that we cannot hear. His hearing is very heightened. His taste and his smell is the same. His touch. He's also an honor roll student. All his life, he's been honor roll. Very, very, very smart. But when it comes to just simple things like, Eric, count out 25, he could ace algebra and things like that. But Eric, could you please count out 25 cents? He can't do that. So autism is very mind-boggling in that way. The other thing that I wanted to speak to really quickly is when Eric was 11 years old, out of nowhere, he had to have heart bypass surgery. Came out of nowhere. And so that in itself took us to a whole nother level because of him not being able to convey his emotional feelings. He is verbal, but then we had to get psychological help to the fact that he had to have heart bypass as well. And as a matter of fact, there are 2 documentaries about Eric and the heart bypass that are on YouTube. I invite you all to see them, which was a really big deal. It was a really big deal. But he is extremely sensitive to the things we take for granted. You know, as Ms. Ward was saying, they are very, very, very loving, deeply loving people. Things that we take for granted, they absolutely acknowledge. Flowers, babies, elderly. He loves the homeless people. Eric loves homeless people. Very compassionate and very sensitive to things like that. So, and he sings. That's the other amazing thing. He's very spiritual. He's like an old bishop. He's very, very spiritual and always has been. So they're very unique, but very beautiful in different ways. You know, took him a long time to tie his shoes. He just learned how to tie his shoes maybe 2.5 years ago. So, you know, they're very beautiful people. And I just wish that the world would open up. I'm sorry, Eric. You can say hello, Eric. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Well,
Hi, Eric.
Come over here, please. Don't be inappropriate. We'll just throw
Hi,
on.
Eric.
He's gonna throw on a shirt and come and say hello. He has on his little t-shirt, so he's gonna throw on a t-shirt and come over and say hello to you guys. But yeah, he's met like the Jackson 5. He's met the Temptations. He's been on many TV shows and magazines because he's extraordinary. He's very extraordinary. So yeah, I just wish the world would open up and receive people that are different because they have something amazing to offer. So thank you for letting me share that about my wonderful son.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Linda, for sharing. And listen, that's part of what this community forum is about. It is about bringing awareness. It is about educating us on the signs that, you know, as we growing our communities through babies being born, and also as we are inside of our communities, everything isn't to be put in the category of crazy or in the category or dysfunctional. Sometimes it is a diagnosis that's missing. And what we want to do is break the silence. Okay, and with that, I'm going to go to Ms. Fletcher. Ms. Fletcher, you have written a book called The Silence of Ray. Please educate us on the heart and nature of your book.
Well, thank you, Mayor Cross. The Silence of Ray came about to describe the storyline of my son and to share some of the challenges and a lot of good things. It speaks also to the difficulty that some families have in trying to obtain certain services. You know, for instance, I had to apply for Medicaid to get in-home support services like 3 times. Even though in front of the board, my son was climbing my back and I'd have to physically carry him out on my back, they would still deny me of the services. I'd also had the opportunity to speak to the Senate and Finance Committee on mental health. And what I've noticed is that in some of the states, I know in Virginia, they tend to take one lump sum of money and they divide it between mental health, rehabilitation, and some other things. Well, being a part of my son's Raymond School and knowing and seeing the families, how they struggled a lot of times with their children, whether it was speech, whether the individuals were runners, and runners is a whole nother category that presents a danger to our children. But a number of different things that I wanted to bring out in this book to just describe our journey, our walk through with autism and the highs and the lows of his story. So that's what the Silence of Ray is, a family's journey through the seasons of autism.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And this book, is it available like on Amazon, or where may we pick up a copy?
Yes, it is. It is available on Amazon. I also provide copies, send out copies myself, and an individual can contact me by phone or email. That's available too. And also, I would also note that there's a scholarship fund. What I noticed is a lot of parents could not get respite services unless they paid an enormous amount of money or what have you, or if there was a special service that they wanted their child to experience in the summer. So we started collecting money, and it was in a scholarship for individuals with autism. But yes, they can receive the book through Amazon and Westbrook Publishing Company.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Okay, I'll be looking for it. And this.
You went on mute.
Thank you so much. Now, I want you to know that in Ms. Ward's area, I think she's threatening a tornado or hurricane. Which one is it, Ms. Ward? Because there's something coming here in Glenarden, Maryland as well. It's been kicking my internet off all night.
There is a tornado in my area, and I keep looking out the window because the lightning is like, it's somewhere. I just hope it doesn't come visit me in my office. So right here.
Thank you so much. Okay. I see Eric there, Linda. Hi, Eric.
Okay, now he's unmuted. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi, it's great to see you, Eric.
Thank you for having me.
Today, we are bringing awareness to the diagnosis of autism. We are trying in our city, we're starting with our city and going forward to bring forward an awareness so that people know when you have a diagnosis like autism, what to expect, right? So how can you talk to us about how it's been for you?
Mostly, it been, I go through a lot with my disability. I don't have a lot of people in my family who don't support me with my disability, but that's okay. That's as long as I have my mother, and Jesus, I'm good. But having autism is an amazing thing. And sometimes I can be smart than another person, and using my disability, I can use it as to touch other people with a disability and tell them not to give up. And having autism is a great thing. And I thank God that God is using me in different ways.
Oh man, I love to hear how you speak about how God uses you. Everything under the sun has great purpose in life. And I love how you have enveloped that purpose, that God is giving you a very unique talent, and how you're using that talent to reach others who may not quite understand what is happening to them. And it's one thing to hear it from a doctor or adult. It's another thing to hear it from a peer. So I thank you so much for how you are taking your gift to the world. Thank you, Eric.
You can tell him. Go ahead.
And next month, it was of course have been this month, but me and my mom have been surely busy with a lot of stuff. But next month, I'm planning on having my own TV show, starting on Instagram, to touch people with disabilities like mine.
So
thank you so much.
You want to own your own. You want to have your own
TV show.
To do what?
To tell people about my experience and change other people's lives with a disability like mine, to encourage them and tell them not to give up.
Very good.
Fantastic, Eric. Thank you so much for that. Linda, you're doing a fantastic job. I know it's a struggle. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Cross. One thing I do want to say really quickly is it can be a very lonely situation, especially because I'm a single mom with Eric. I'm divorced and he's my only child, but it can be a very lonely life. Just like Eric said, some people don't always want to be a part of something different. And so, it can just be very lonesome sometimes with that situation. But I got God and I got Jesus, so we good now. But
we good.
We've gone through a lot.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on, Eric. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Y'all, thank you. We appreciate you. Miss Ward, I see your hand.
Yes, I just have to. Eric, you are just so articulate. I just have to bless you. You have blessed me. So And Linda, you were doing an amazing job. It makes me cry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing job.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you really
Almost.
So I do realize it is lonely out there sometimes. But Eric, oh my goodness, I am so proud of you. And I hope you get that show going because I want to watch it.
Oh,
thank you.
So I do want to speak to not only just praising Eric and his mother, but Karen, Ms. Fletcher, you said something a while ago that really resonated with me, and it's about getting respite for your children, your grandchildren. Let me tell you, that is very difficult. There are some people, even organized groups, that don't want to take care of children. And I could share an experience real quickly about when my grandson, who was about 2 years old at the time, it could be exasperating. I mean, you're every day, it consumes your life. And just to get someone to take care of your child with autism, it doesn't always work out like that. I have experienced where I took my grandson to a daycare, a very well-respected daycare, and they turned him away. And all I could do was cry because I was exhausted, exasperated. That's all I could do was cry. And I was able to go for a year until I found someone, and that lasted about 2 weeks. And then I go somewhere else, and that lasted about 2 weeks until finally his mother had to quit her job because it's, that's all you got to do what you got to do. So it is a real problem finding that respite just to help, give some normalcy and to get a break for the children and let them get around children as well. So thank you for bringing that very important point up, Karen.
Go ahead, Karen. I see your hand.
Yes, and I was going to add in my career with Department of Defense, I also had the opportunity to push money towards services for soldiers and family members who had children who had autism and who needed those extra services. The autism can impact a family's life so much, so great, that it pulls the family apart. And just like Linda explained, I was a single mom because after a while, folks just kind of walk away and say, you handle it. And it is so hard. The struggle is so hard. But like I said, for soldiers and families and trying to even get respite services for them was difficult. We provide money and things of that nature. But the long story short is that parents need respite. They need a break. And having a child day to day where you have to physically watch and keep them and what have you, to just have someone who will come in and just watch that child long enough for those parents to get away was a lifesaver. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And thank you, Ms. Ward, for bringing out such, compassion is what we're talking about. Really, it's just compassion. My children are not autistic, but I do have a child that's in the TAG program. My mother-in-law has been volunteering with an aftercare and before care program. And she said, do you know that the talented and gifted children are categorized as special needs? And so I kind of was like, what are we talking about? But you're absolutely right. Those are talents and gifts that are taken to another level. And so that's what we're talking about. Autism, we don't like to call it a disease. We want to call it a diagnosis, because really and truly what's happened here in the brain is there are pieces and parts that are taken to another level. And with that another level comes greater energies towards art, greater energies towards math, a very needle point focus that needs to be found. And that's where we need specialists in our community or even in our police force training. And I know, Miss Linda, you have a Blue Runway for Autism, which is actually creating a program to train police officers to recognize the difference between forceful and aggressive and autistic, which, you know, has a very needlepoint sensitivity that has to be taken care of, or you may mistake it.
That is correct. That is correct. I was having a conversation with Eric. I realized I had to have the talk with Eric when George Floyd was killed. And I created a scenario that I thought he could comprehend. And I said, you know, what if me and other moms took you and your friends to the movies in downtown Silver Spring, and something broke out in the movie theater, and it wasn't you guys, but the police didn't know that. And they come to you guys first. It's dark in the movie theater, so they come in there with their flashlights drawn in their face, tasers out, and they don't know that these guys have autism because looking at them is an invisible disability. And so I said, Eric, I want you to keep your hands up, whatever you do not reach for your phone to call me. Yell out you have autism, yell out somebody call my mom, yell out my number. He started to cry. He said, Mommy, I can do that. But they would shoot my friends. And it was devastating because that's a real thing. And so he said, Mommy, you got to do something, and you got to do something now. And I said, well, Eric, the only thing I know is to have a conversation with the police. So I wound up reaching out to Chief Conti in Washington, D.C. and asking, could we do a workshop with the police, with Eric and his classmates and their parents, along with Deborah Martin, who is a legal advocate for people with disabilities and autism, and along with two other people, a young lady that goes to my church that's bipolar, and a gentleman who's actually Tisha Campbell, the actress, her brother, Tay Campbell, who's a brain injury person. Again, looking at all these people, they have an invisible disability. You can't see it. So I'm thinking if they ran into the movie theater and stuck this flashlight in Eric's face or his friend's face, it's going to be a bad situation. You know, or if they taste them and they have sensory, it's going to be absolutely horrid. And so, you know, just in that whole process, it's a real situation and it's frightening. So we've done a few workshops now with Mount Pleasant Police, DC Police, and we're about to do one with the Sheriff's Office very soon. And so the interesting thing about the police was they said to us is that this is the best workshop they've ever had because everything is always book knowledge. But when you're in the room with them, you're interacting with them and looking at them and you don't know that they have a disability, it's invisible. So they got a chance to really interchange with us. And Deborah Martin did absolutely amazing one-on-ones with them. And so it was very, very effective. So we look forward to, it's called Dressed in Blue is what we call it, because of the color blue and autism and because police dress in blue. And Mr. Quinn, I just wanted to let you know really quickly that Eric sings the national anthem at Autism Speaks. So we do support Autism Speaks as well. So I just wanted to let you know that because I know you're very involved.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Linda. And Ms. Ward, was your hand back up?
It is. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, if there's any of these events that could be viewed on YouTube or something, I would love to view those. But, I just want to share real quickly the importance, like Linda was talking about to Eric, some of the dilemmas of going into a movie theater and then the police come over. That could be a nightmare. Let me tell you about another potential nightmare unless you stay ahead of it. And this was with my grandson again. I took him to Disney World. He was nonverbal. He's 4 years old, maybe 4 or 5. He can't talk. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be, if he gets lost at Disney World, I'd have a heart attack because he can't talk. No one knows how to find his parents or his grandparents. So the first thing, Linda, you were spot on. You got to go to the people that could help you most. Go to the police. You go, in my case, I went to the, at Disney World, the front desk and said, look, this is a situation. My grandson cannot talk. He's nonverbal. He will not know how to tell anybody a phone number or nothing. And they put on the back of his tag, his name, his phone number. I mean, I was ready to wrap him in duct tape with a phone number on it and a name. I was so scared. He ended up having the best time ever. But yeah, you have to be ahead of it. You have to be proactive to protect these children.
Yes, thank you so much. And it is a proactive approach, even for community. When we look at autism, the diagnosis of it, you know, there isn't a cure. There isn't a cure. So we want to make sure that we say that. It is still unknown what causes autism at this point. It can be linked to some vaccinations. It can be linked to our genetic makeup, our body, you know, other patterns in our environment, the family genes mixing, you know, it's very uncertain as of right now what actually links to what ultimately is a diagnosis for autism. But what I can hear from this podcast, this communication, the greatest thing we can do as a community, as families, is issue love. Love is the cure to all things. It's biblically written, and it has come across loud and clear to me on this scene tonight that love is the common cure. And when you love, what you do is you have an ability to be more tolerant. You have ability to be more respectful. You have ability to be more curious. And you have the ability to be present. And that's what we need. We need that presence, because it is not something, as you're talking, Ms. Ward, your grandson can't speak. When you talk to him, you sing and he responds to singing. Okay, but imagine yourself in Walmart and you're singing and you're singing to your grandson and people are looking at you like, whoa, what is she doing? Is she American Idol? What's going on? You know, these are things that I really do pray that this message comes across loud and clear to our community and beyond, that when you see things that seems a little uncertain, maybe there is a bigger story behind that uncertainty. The response to our police officers is to take an opportunity to understand those signs. And I thank you, Linda, and I thank you also to Ms. Fletcher for bringing out some of those signs. You know, some of the signs are, if maybe you can show us some of the signs that your family members have displayed. I know, Ms. Fletcher, we talked about this being one of the key signs, because their sensory is very heightened. They hear like a bat almost everything. So they close their ears to silence some of it. Are there any other signs that as a community we can watch out for, education-wise?
So Eric was saying loud music, but that's what Miss Fletcher was talking about when with the ears on. Yeah, you used to do that all the time.
And my phone.
Yeah, and your friends do it. That's Lawrence. Lawrence wears headphones, actually.
And Jacob.
Yeah, they wear headphones because of the sensory being really loud for them. Yeah, so, yeah.
Are there any other signs that we can watch out for as a community? Behaviors, sharp movements maybe.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Definitely the wringing of the hands.
Like this.
Screams, yeah.
Sometimes the head banging and rocking.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will cry if they hear something loud.
That's still the ear sensory, hearing sensory.
Yes. So the rocking, the hand, the swinging of the hands, I've seen a few times this, and the ears is very loud. So these are things, just a few environmentals to be aware of, right?
One of the other things that Eric would do when he was younger, before I really was well educated about autism, is I would try to get him to eat different things. And family would like always judge me. They would say, why is it that he doesn't eat more vegetables? Or, you need to make him do that. But at that time, Eric would just eat the same exact thing over and over and over again. And I would say, what is it with this? You know what I mean? But then his doctor explained to me, that it's routine. They like the same things over and over. But within that, he didn't like the textures of like rice and peas, the textures of things separated in his mouth. He didn't like that at all. His smell was very heightened. One day I thought I was doing him a really big favor, getting him a different turkey brand. I said, I'm gonna go to the deli today. I'm gonna get him some shaved turkey. Brought the turkey home. He smelled it and and I said, oh my God, well, should I eat it? I'm thinking, should I eat it if he's, looking at it that way? So whatever it was that he smelled in it, it was horrible to him. So the smell thing is very keen. Again, the taste, the touch, even the touch, was very sensitive in certain places for him. They will always take their shoes off. Some of them take their shoes off because of the rubbing on the back of their feet. It doesn't feel good. Tags, take the tags out of the back of the shirts. The rubbing on the back of the neck can be very irritating to them. Eric would chew his clothes for a very long time. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
He would chew it and I would, I'm like, you have to stop that. You can't do that. You're getting all that in your mouth. No, it's not good. But he would do it as a stimulating, thing to him. It would help him. So chewing of the clothes, the tags in the back, please take those out. That's a definite. The shoes coming off. The other thing for him that Deborah Martin actually taught me was he would get used to, the same shoes. And when his feet would grow, I would have to, Eric, you can't wear those, and he would throw a tantrum. So Deborah, she told me, take those shoes and put them in his backpack and let him take them with him everywhere he goes. So I had to do that because the shoes was just, he would just go off if he couldn't have those shoes. So, he developed some issues about, abandonment issues with different things. It was just, it's a really strange autism. It's really just mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. In so many ways, Mayor Cross. It really is. At the same time, it's beautiful in so many ways too.
And that's it. I love Eric, and I love how he has enveloped his diagnosis, and I love how he is exploring. It's an exploration. Life is a big wonder to Eric, and I can see that right now. So I see, Tim, I see a couple of comments from you. I'm going to go to you and let you speak those comments.
Oh God, I always have trouble unmuting. Oh, I mean, it's very much the same. I've seen, it's this, dislike of any kind of change, which I guess I could say the same thing about me, but, this fixation on certain items. I mean, this is what we saw with Jack, the same thing. He would only eat, and to this day, he will only eat macaroni and cheese with like no liquid in it, and being aware and staying and not trying to fight against something that we, as caregivers think is not right, like you should eat more broccoli, you got to choose your battles, right? A lot of that, as you spoke earlier, it's like the fixation on certain things, and even the socialization of, emotion is different. I find that, as everyone has said, that, children with autism can be terribly kind, and you just want to hug them all the time. But, it's also learning like the right way to hug them that doesn't, cause them to pull back. And I think it's a lot of everything. You said it earlier, Mayor, about love. And if you can get past what's in your head of how things should be and just love the way it is, the world changes dramatically.
Thank you, Tim. Ms. Fletcher, I see your hand.
Yes, ma'am. It brought me back to a memory where one year I'd taken my son, my kids to Disney World, and we were staying at a resort. And that evening we decided to go swimming. Well, at least Ray and I decided to go. And Ray was having a great time, avid swimmer, perfect swimmer, could sit at the bottom of the pool for, 10 minutes or whatever. He could go breaststroke. And I wasn't kind of paying attention. And then I look up and I see Ray exiting the pool. Well, one thing you'll learn about children with autism is they don't like wet things on them. So he emerged from the pool completely stark naked in all of his glory. And of course, by that time he was 14 and a quarter. And all I could do was grab everything I had, and I'm chasing him with clothes, saying, please put on your clothes. And he was strutting around. You would have thought he was King David. It was such a classic moment. Needless to say, we never went to that pool again, but because the people were like in awe, they were like, oh, and he had such a physique, you know what I'm saying? Women were like, oh. Anyway, that just reminded me, they do not like wet things on. And that was quite an evening. I was quite embarrassed, but I had developed tunnel vision by that time. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry to giggle there at Ray's expense, but I can visualize that clearly. Just a beautiful experience. Again, the world is so colorful. And that's why I love the ribbon of autism. I'm wearing my blue today as well for autism. The ribbon of autism is puzzle pieces connected, and they're different colors, because that's pretty much what we're talking about. The diagnosis has so many different facets. It's almost more cut than a diamond would be. So these are diamonds in the rough. And what you're doing as parents, as community leaders, as icons, is you're trying to cut those diamonds to figure out why and how they shine. And like I said, I love you, Linda, for what you're doing. Eric, you're finding how your diamond shines. I see you, Mr. Brashear.
Hi, Mayor Cross. What you said is amazing. It's about awareness. And I wanted to bring something that I will be doing tomorrow. And it is, like Tim said, 1 in 44 children are diagnosed with autism. So what Marla had asked me to do is do a 44-second plank. And hopefully it will go viral. And I know a lot of people are also doing that. So I will post that on my social media, and I'll actually send you the link so you can look at it too.
Much for that. And it is so important that we continue to shed light. I want to say that we're at our time. I wanted to give an opportunity, if any of our guests wanted to ask questions of our panel, I would be honored if you would. Just unmute yourself and start talking. I know we're over our time. If you have to go, I understand. But I think we have really hit a moment where we are finding the unfailing love that we have to have when we're talking about autism, and how a community has to envelop it to grow part of the community. Community is made up of all sorts and kinds of community people, and autistic people need their place in it as well. And we can capitalize on and help them enjoy, and as Eric has said, mold his diamond. So right now, do we have any questions or comments there from those that have attended this evening's Mayoral Forum? Yes, Ms. Day.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Dr. Crossland. You guys, I was looking out. So good to see you again, Mayor Cross and the rest. Thank you for sharing about autism, because my son does not have it, but there were some learning challenges, and it helped me to understand why testing is so important, because I just did testing with my son, and he's a 9th grader. But it's some things that I could have caught earlier. And even though he does have autism, there are some of those traits that I have, like ADHD, right? And whether it's light or high, it doesn't matter. I can see where his learning, I can see where I could have added more tools to the game to make him stronger in certain areas. And so me understanding autism and the pressures that parents have to help take care of their children and needing extra assistance, like I never want to complain ever because I don't know the extent of it. And now this just opened my eyes to be right here in this room. I've seen them. I've seen other older adults who might have it and younger. And I didn't understand it, but I don't ever judge. But it helped me to understand that we are a part of the solution. And the more educated we become, the more we can fight. In a couple of more weeks, we'll be doing mental health. And I'm glad that Mrs. Linda, one of them, had said something about how they try to group mental illness and the funding. Someone talked about the funding that they give. Maybe it was you, Basar. They tried to group that funding all into one. Like, that's ridiculous. Mental health and autism are definitely not the same. Mm-hmm. And so it helps me to know, as a public affairs person, how to articulate that and then study it more, because this is bigger than, this is so much bigger than us as an individual and just my son. It's about your son, because your son and your daughter is my daughter. And I just want to thank you for sharing tonight. And again, thank you, Mr. DC, for bringing that up as well. So thank you, Mrs. Cross, for everything that you're doing, and the rest of you. Again, God bless you. That's all I wanted to say, but I wanted to jump on and really share that with you. So
thank you, Ms. Day. We appreciate those words. So kind. And thank you again for taking this message to the community. Every one of us, each one reach one, and then that one reaches another one. And we keep speaking until we get the message out and, envelop our community. Dr. Crossland, I see you on.
Here I am, and I have my magic wand, and I wish there was a magic cure for autism. Especially, I'm thinking about as a person ages and they get older, does that turn into dementia? So I have tons of questions, and I know we're out of time. I am Miss Virginia World. I will be competing in the beauty pageant for Miss Senior World in November in Biloxi, Mississippi, Honorable Mayor Cross, and that's where you're from. So I'm sure you're going to be going with us on the bus. I know Yasir said he's going. GTV Fox 5 Plus, they said they're going. So we're going to have a good time. And speaking of my TV show, Miss Fletcher also has a TV show on Fox 5 Plus. And we're inviting Eric to come on our TV show and talk about whatever he wants to talk about for 6 minutes. So that will give him an opportunity. So much. Yes, you're absolutely welcome. You'll love it. Everyone will love you as well.
Thank you. He really wants his own show to be able to encourage others that have autism. Eric is very, very talented in his own way. So yeah, and I just wanted to say really quickly, Mayor Cross, thank you so much for this. This has been absolutely amazing. And just keep the awareness going. The other thing I wanted to say to everyone that's on, I hope and pray you guys will come out and support the Blue Runway for Autism fashion show this Saturday at 2 p.m. at Macy's in Wheaton Mall on the lower level at 2 p.m. And then on the 30th of April, closing out Autism Month, we are doing the event with Mayor Cross called Paint with a Purpose.
And we would love to have you.
Yeah, you tell them, Eric, go ahead.
We are doing an art show on art party at on April 30th with Ms. Mayor Cross, and we're gonna have it's gonna be fun, and it's a blessing to do it, and we're gonna have some of my classmates and my friends and many more people to come.
Amen.
Yeah, we love to invite you guys.
We would love for you guys to come and just be there in the room, even if you can't paint anything. Please just come out and be there to support the family and kids that are there. I'm sorry, I'm emotional because this has just been so amazingly beautiful. Mayor Cross, thank you for doing this. Thank you so much. Because awareness is so important to make a difference in these kids' lives. Thank you for doing this. And thank all of you guys that are on here.
And Mayor Cross did invite us out on April 30th. So I know I will be there. Miss Fletcher will be there. She's my running buddy. We run together. We do everything together. I like to thank Miss Charlene Day, her husband. He is a mental health specialist. He was also in the Mr. DC pageant. They came out, they supported. Miss Fletcher supported the Mr. DC pageant. Yasir, Mr. DC 2022, whatever Yasir needs, we're right behind him to support him and his awareness and whatever he wants to do. And I know he said he was going to do a plank. I Googled it and I'm going to participate in that, Yasir. I'm going to do some push-ups over at my gym. I'm going to videotape it and post it on your Instagram page, Yasir.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, yeah.
Mayor Cross and Linda, yeah, I'm sorry. If you don't mind, be in touch with us. If we have Four Sisters Slide with Sisters Network, and we would like to invite your son on to the show and let him speak. There are several. We basically overtake Prince George's County when it comes to this particular show. And so, and you do know Mrs. Peggy Morris, Mrs. Cross. So why don't you come and your son and of course the Mayor Cross, and let's talk about next week. It's from 12 to 1, but we just spotlight autism this month, and then you can promote everything that's going on in May. So I will give you my section because my segment is on education. And so, yeah, I'm excited. So that was just dropped in my ear, like, go and do it. It's not no charge.
Thank you.
Let's get some exposure.
Can Eric get to sing his latest video? Can he sing his latest song? That would be awesome.
I will send you my email and everything.
Okay.
All of y'all just come. I say you need to come. All of you guys just come and be there at 12 o'clock and just, but we really want to spotlight this young man because he is that face. He is the one that's doing that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll reach out. We're excited.
Thank you so much.
We're pumped.
Miss Day.
Miss Day, thank you so much. Dr. Crossland, Miss, I just can't, you know, I'm a mess over here, okay? I thank you all so much. I love you all too. I love you. Thank you so much. So I want to be a good steward of your time. This has been phenomenal. And I just want to say thank you for giving us your heart. I know, Miss Fletcher, this one was a tough one, but I love how you brought the laughter back to the exploration that we are all on together. Mm-hmm. I just want to give you one quote, and I love my Bible quotes. And Colossians 3:14. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. And that's what we're talking about. Community, bringing us all together in unity. So I know Tim has to leave. I want to give Tim an opportunity for final words. I'm going to close off our presentation. I want you to know you have really brought the heart and soul to Autism Awareness Month and has opened it up with grace and grandeur. And I want to say thank you. Tim, I'll let you go first because I know you have a deadline. Did he drop? Okay. Tim had to drop off, but he did leave us his information, which is at Tim Quinn, TIMQUINN Beauty. And he is, again, thanking us all for allowing him to be here. And he's also tagging Tim with planks at Peace Love Solve on Instagram. Thank you so much for that. Okay. So, Miss Fletcher, let's go to you.
Yes. I just wanted to say thank you so much for providing this platform for us to reach out and to just share with the community the significant gifts and all of the things that can help our awareness make us more comfortable with each other and to enjoy the simple things. Because when you see an autistic individual, they're not asking for designer things and special things. They just like pure love, basic things. And sometimes that's what we need to get back to, just so that we remove ourselves from the materialistic world. And so I just thank you so much for this opportunity. Raymond, thanks you so much, and God bless to each one of the panelists.
God bless you. And thank you so much, Ms. Fletcher. And we'll be out there on Amazon looking for The Silence of Ray. The Silence of Ray. Thank you for that. Ms. Ward?
I just want to thank you so much for blessing me with this opportunity to meet so many wonderful people and talk about something that is very dear to my heart. And once again, I wish that young man over there all the blessings in the world, because you deserve it. And I'm looking forward to watching you grow in video or whatever it is you do, your talk show. I can't wait to see you grow. And I just want to thank every one of you for giving me this opportunity to meet all of you and share with you similar experiences. So thank you, Dr. Crossland and Mayor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Ms. Ward. And we will go to Mr. Yashir Bashir.
I just wanted to thank everyone. You know, I don't know a lot about it, but this meeting provided me with so much information. And I was just like a sponge, just soaking every information, every experience, so I can go back out there in the community and discuss that and share that information. And Tim had to leave, but he sent me a message. He said it was the most beautiful meeting he's ever attended. He's like, he learned so much from this. So thank you from both of us.
Thank you so much, Mr. DC 2022. And it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. And I look forward to seeing you in December. Okay. And I look forward to seeing what you're going to do in the community. And I thank you for being on this Mayoral Community Forum with us. I want to give an opportunity to Miss Linda and Eric to speak. I saw that you put in a chat here that there are documentaries on Eric Grantham, YouTube, Eric's Faith. YouTube, Eric's Faith. And there's a family documentary, which is about 30 minutes, and Eric's story is about 15 minutes. So you will be able to see him on YouTube. Miss Linda?
Yes, so that's correct. The first documentary is Eric's Faith, a documentary of faith and family, leading up to him having the heart bypass surgery. And it also shows how spiritual he is. And that was when he was 11, he's 17 now. And part 2 of the documentary was created because once it went on to YouTube, able, and then it just kind of spiraled on its own. So they did a part 2 because strangers started calling his school and showing up at the hospital. So they wanted to show he made it through heart bypass. So there are 2 parts. One part is 30 minutes, one part is 15 minutes. And then the latest thing is his latest song titled He Woke Me Up. And do you want to tell him really quickly why you made that song?
The reason why I made the song, because a lot of people were dying from COVID, and many more because what happened in 2020. And it made all the souls from who died from the COVID, may their souls rest in peace. And the song tribute to the people who have died and what happened to 2020. And at the end, and God woke us up and happy to be alive. And at the end of the video, it showed that I went to my late aunt's gravesite.
Yes, my sister passed away, so he was very close to her. And you'll see that in the documentary as well, that he was very close to her. So that's pretty much it. But really, really quickly, Mayor Cross, Miss Pearson, could you tell me where you're from really quickly? I think I met you.
I live in Waldorf, and I'm in the Toastmasters Club with Karen Fletcher along with Kevin King, and we were here to support Karen's participation in this. But I'm in Southern Maryland.
Okay, thank you. You just look so familiar. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you all so much. So I am, again, Mayor Cross from the city of Glenarden, and this has been the April Autism Awareness Mayoral Community Forum. I want to thank you all so very much for attending and being patient with us. I know we went over about 15 minutes, but I believe that we really brought home the end of all of this is love. Where we end, where we begin and we end with love. And if we love, then we are able to be more tolerant, more accepting, and more aware and more involved. There's a lot of involvement required. So thank you for helping where you can. We appreciate you all. I say good evening to you and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of our panelists and our guests. Fantastic forum.
Thank you.